Welcome to Mo2. We are two coaches, both named Maureen, and we share some stories and tips and different ideas to support you in living a really life that's true to you. And today we were reflecting a little on our our own reflections to the beginning of this new year. Maureen, you shared at the beginning that you had done some reflections and came up with some words to inspire, support, guide you this year. Would you care to share a little?
Yeah, so one of the things I've learned over the years is that I can use the end of a year and the beginning of a new one to reflect on what's happened and come up with sort of an intention. It's and to to describe the intention a little bit, I come up with a few words or what I term values. And so the ones that came to me this time round were health, adventure, beauty, joy, and learning. And and those might seem as though they're not connected, but to me they're quite connected. I can think of learning and adventure as coupled, and I can think of joy as an outcome, and I can think of health as a precursor, perhaps. And but the purpose of those words is to help me prioritize what to say yes to and what to say no to in the coming year, because of the intention that I've set out. And as we were discussing, Mo was doing a similar kind of thing independently. And what came up was the concept of trust. And what is trust? And um, and and how do we use that in our lives, to maximize fulfillment in our lives? And and so if I think about the five words and I think about trust, I think of trusting myself, so me in relationship with me, that I will focus on these five values and I will sort of lead my life uh, a little bit tethered to those five values, so that my life becomes um, uh, more, I guess, embellished by those particular values. So I might feel more adventure and I might feel more joy, and I might make sure that I do things that are healthy for me so that I can maximize what's possible for me. And that would also be in relationship with other people too. So suppose I have a partner and they have some different ideas of what they want to get out of their next year. Then the trust that I have in myself to uh, ask for what I need and want builds trust in that relationship. So that's sort of where my mind went to.
The,
What about you, Mo? What was what's your reflection on that? And
well, yeah, as you're talking, I'm thinking of Hmm. something that came up. There's a sense of how do you know you trust yourself? And the word being in alignment, like that's a pretty common word these days. And the authenticity, like how do we know we're being true to ourselves and trusting ourselves? And um, and so for me, the idea when you talked about the embellishing living and recognize it's like a recognition that the adventure is somehow it's supporting you or filling you up and giving you your life this sense of maybe meaning and purpose and that joy. And and so the idea of lightness comes in. Oh, that feels there's something energetically about this that feels right and true to me, and I'm trusting that. And if it feels for me really heavy and like, oh my God, it's a slog, I've got to get through it, that's information as well, and trusting that as well. So trust is big, and I feel like I'm going off on a little tangent here, and yet this is what it's bringing up for me is that energetics of it.
Well, so what I think what I'm hearing you say is that for you, um, eh, a little test that you have
Mhm.
of whether you can trust yourself to be true to yourself,
Mhm.
perhaps, um, is the energetics that you feel in your body, either the heaviness or the lightness. And the lightness is alignment with
Mhm.
trust, and the heaviness is not.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little litmus test that you can use to ask yourself, okay, I'm not that skilled at knowing this, so here's a little test for me to figure out if this is true.
Yes. Or that trust piece that comes in is, oh, I think I want this, and I think I'm going to be maybe I want to be in this relationship with somebody else, and I think I want it. But there's something that feels off, or maybe I'm being criticized, or maybe it's one that I feel really supported in. So it's also trusting that. And that's where that lightness and heavy can come in. If I'm ruminating all night, staying awake because I can't sleep because somebody has said something to me or I've said something to somebody, um, that's trusting that there's something off here, and it might be with myself. And then what do I do with that? So there's a lot packed in here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and one of the things that popped into mind when you were talking was the idea that focusing on trusting oneself is selfish, um, and and in fact, it's not. It depends how you look at it, but it could be very generous. Um, and the reason I say that is that when I'm trusting myself, I'm solid, and I am solid in the relationship that I have with you. And that provides a platform for both of us to jump from. And that would be true of any relationship. So, I mean, that's what comes to mind. And then that platform, that solidity, that safety, sense of safety is something that allows me to do even more for other people. So it could be in service to other people. It could be that I have a lot of energy to do things for the better good, the greater good. Um, so I don't see it as selfish, although I think lots of people do.
Yeah, and I think that's a whole nother conversation because there's so much mm, kind of conditioning and belief systems that can contribute to how we look at things. And as you were talking, I thought, my statement is about, for me this year, what does it mean to live truly free? And when you were talking, I thought that came back up. Those are elements for me of living my life truly free, where I'm unencumbered from all of this heaviness of others, where I am solid in knowing kind of knowing me and trusting in me. And it doesn't mean I'm putting others down or any of that. It's about I'm solid, therefore you can trust me because you know that is you can feel it and you know it. And there's
Mm-hmm.
something really powerful in that. And I love the idea of the platform that you describe because that's a visual and I could feel that like, oh yeah, that feels like really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
So,
uh, I guess we leave it here and we pass it over to you, listeners. What would you like to focus on this year, perhaps? Or what does trust mean to you and how will you use it going forward?
perfect. Until next time.
You can contact me at maureenmayhew.com.
And me at mo2
And
We'll,
so we wish you a wonderful week.
bye bye.